Monday, June 10th, I will call the City Council Personnel Committee meeting to order. We have 3 items on the agenda tonight. We'll start with order number 24-100-9172, communication from Mayor Dumas with the appointment of Mary Lou Vanzini to the Council on Aging for a term of 4 years, set to expire on May 1st, 2028. If you would join us.
I haven't been in front of a group for a long time.
I don't believe that at all.
We're friendly.
We will start by reading the mayor's appointment letter. Dear Council President Ossing and councilors, I am pleased to submit for your approval the appointment of Mary Lou Vanzini to the Council on Aging for a term of 4 years, set to expire on May 1st, 2028. Mary Lou was born and raised in Marlborough, attended Marlborough Public Schools, and graduated from Marlborough High School. She is an active attendee of the Marlborough Senior Center at programs, exercise classes, and luncheons. Mary Lou's extensive community involvement over the years includes founding the Marlborough Girls Club, founding the Citizen Scholarship Foundation, member of the Marlborough Council of Children, and serving 12 years on the Marlborough School Committee. I am confident that Mary Lou will make an exceptional addition to the Marlborough Council on Aging. I have attached her resume for your review. Mary Lou takes the place of Jim Confrey, whose term has expired and will not be returning to the council. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Jim for his service to the council and city. Please do not hesitate to contact me or my office with any questions. Sincerely, J. Christian Dumas, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mrs. Vanzini.
Hello.
This letter pretty much sums it up. You have a long and distinguished career here in the city. I know personally I was able to hear at one of the Boys and Girls Club Hall of Fame breakfasts a couple years ago, I was able to hear your story about how you worked tirelessly to fund the Marlborough Girls Club and to get it started. And just, I can't thank you enough for your years of volunteering for our community. And then yet you still want to do more, so we appreciate that. I'm gonna open it up.
I'm in that age group now.
So I want to open it up to you. Thank you for volunteering to be on the Council on Aging. Do you want to just take a couple of seconds to, minutes, hours, whatever you like, to tell us a little bit about yourself and why the Council on Aging?
Okay, I started getting involved when my oldest child was still in a carriage, and myself and my neighbor decided that we needed a girls' club because there was a boys' club, but there was no girls' club. So that's how I originally got involved. And then from there, it just moved from one thing to another.
Yeah.
So you read the list.
I did read the list, and I'm sure it is not comprehensive. I know the impact you have had on the community. With that, I will open up to questions from other members of the committee. Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mrs. Vanzini, for joining us. I was excited when I read the mayor's letter about your interest in joining the Council on Aging. I'm a big fan of yours and everything you've done for the community. I definitely feel you're an inspiration for myself and probably many others, I'm sure. So I don't have any questions as far as, your abilities to perform on the Council of Aging, but just want to thank you for the consideration to do it. Thank you. But you do have my support.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Ms. Mancini, it's just you definitely have extraordinary credentials for this position, and appreciate your volunteering more for helping our community. So thank you for that, really do. So.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other members of the council? Councilor Landers.
Chairman, I just have to make a few comments. I'm glad to have you back. It has something to do with my age, I think.
Yes,
I know what you did back 20, 30 years ago.
and you were there.
School kids and the girls and so forth like that, and the scholarships and so forth. So, I'm at that age right now, but you might be able to help me out some. I certainly will vote for you when this comes before the full council.
Thank you, thank you, Councilor Landers. Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mary Lou, for being with us again. An interesting fact, if I remember, when you served on the school committee, were you one of the first women ever to serve on the school committee?
No, there was
Was one?
before me. What was her name?
Hazel Bailey.
Oh,
Yes.
I should have asked Council Landers.
You see, his memory's better than mine.
No, that's fine. We appreciate you coming back and helping us. And I will say one thing, all my children, I had 3 that went through the Marlborough school system, they all benefited from the all-nighter. And I see that it's noted down here that you started that. So again, another thank you, and look forward, I will definitely be voting for you when it comes to the full council.
I'm so glad that they go to that.
They did, and great
It's
opportunity.
a fun thing.
Thank you.
Any other? Counselor Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If there's no further discussion, I move to approve the appointment of Mary Lou Vanzini to the Council on Aging.
Okay, the motion being made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries 3-0. Thank you very much, Mrs. Vanzini.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Good night. It was so nice to see you all. I'll see you in the morning.
I don't want to ask.
Next up, we have order number 24-100-9190, communication from Mayor Dumas with the appointment of M.J. Spagone as City Collector/Assistant Finance Director for a 2-year term effective the date of City Council confirmation. Temporary appointment effective May 28th, 2024. Anybody want to join us? I'll read the letter from Mayor Dumas. Dear Council President Ossing and Councilors, I am pleased to submit for your approval the appointment of M.J. Spagone as the City of Marlborough's City Collector and Assistant Finance Director. Ms. Spagone began her duties on Tuesday, May 28th, under my 60-day temporary appointment. Ms. Spagone comes to Marlborough after serving as the Assistant Tax Collector in the town of Avon for several years. Prior to that, she worked in the Town Manager's Office in the town of Bridgewater and the Collector's Office in the town of Dartmouth. Ms. Spagone brings over a decade of municipal government experience to the City of Marlborough. In addition to her experience, Ms. Spagone has completed all required classes in order to take the test to become a certified Massachusetts municipal collector. The City Collector's Office is one of the busiest offices within City Hall and interacts with thousands of residents a year. With only a total staff of 3, including the collector, I am very glad to be filling this position and return us to full staffing. Encloses Ms. Spagone's resume for your review. Ms. Spagone will be available at a future Personnel Committee meeting to answer any questions you may have. Please do not hesitate to contact me or my office with questions. Sincerely, J. Christian Dumas, Mayor. Good evening, Ms. Spagone.
Chairman.
So I just want to take a real quick second to read the definition for the position for those watching at home who may not be aware of just all the duties that may entail this position. So the City Collector Assistant Finance Director, under the direction of the Comptroller Treasurer Finance Director, is responsible for maintaining and improving the efficiency and effectiveness of all areas of the Finance Department, Treasury collectors, and assessors. This position is responsible for the collection of all taxes due to the city. The senior level position performs complex, responsible duties requiring a high level of initiative and independent judgment in the planning, administration, and execution of the department's programs and services in accordance with applicable Mass General laws, city policies, city codes, and relevant state, federal, and local regulations. So, are you sure you still want this position?
Yes, sir. Otherwise, I wouldn't have applied for it.
Absolutely. Great.
Mr. Chairman, I do
Yes.
have a brief statement I would like to read, if that is okay with the
We
committee.
would love to hear it.
Alrighty. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, good evening. Thank you for inviting me to speak this evening with you and to share a little bit about myself. As you are aware, I bring with me close to 2 decades of municipal government experience, ranging from work as a committee member to my most recent post as Assistant Tax Collector in the town of Avon. Spending the better part of my adult life in local government, my work has encompassed many duties and responsibilities, but always in service to the public. Although I am new to the role of City Collector Assistant Finance Director, much of this work builds upon my previous municipal experiences. I have taken all classes towards certification as a Certified Massachusetts Municipal Collector, or CMMC, and currently hold the surety bond as required by law. As your City Collector Assistant Finance Director, you can expect a level of courtesy, professionalism, and respect that exemplifies the very best of public service. This committee and this great community can expect loyalty, dedication, and a stalwart conviction to collect all tax monies due to the City of Marlborough. And with that, I welcome all questions from you and your colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MJ. I know Counselor Ossing appreciated especially that last part there. That was a great synopsis also of your resume, and I do just want to highlight it's an impressive resume. We appreciate your experience, and we appreciate your interest in coming to the city of Marlborough.
Thank you.
With that, I will open it up to members of the committee. Counselor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for joining us today. In my other work life, my day job, I am a hiring manager, and I review applications and resumes, and so there are certain things I'm always looking at. And so your resume, to me, I thought about it, and if you had been an applicant at my company, I would probably move your resume to the top of the list. It looks like you have absolutely been doing the work toward a particular goal in finance and tax collection. After you just spoke and read your statement, I really feel like you're somebody who will be passionate and dedicated, but also come from an angle of customer service, which for me, it's very important because I do consider our constituents and local businesses our customers. So the only question I really have is, based on your experience and, you know, how you've been almost climbing a ladder, I guess, of experience, what would be maybe a 5-year plan for you? Where do you see yourself?
Well, I appreciate that question, Counselor. Thank you. And first and foremost, I am very customer service oriented. Going as far back as my days at the State House, I was definitely a quality of service individual. The people come first, and I make sure that the service to them is complete and thorough. For me, the long-term plan is to remain in municipal finance, continue my work, not only in this position, but also the work I actually do at home as well. I'm on the finance committee in the town of Bridgewater, my hometown, and I intend to remain in service in the municipal finance field because it is not only very familiar to me, but it is also, for lack of a better word, fun. And I find that if you find your work fun, you never work a day in your life. You enjoy the experience every day. So that, for me, is the long-term goal.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor.
Counselor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair. So you were quite a couple of different municipalities. Which of the different roles that you have, basically, which one do you consider to be the most challenging, and which one was the most straightforward?
I would say, Counselor, the most challenging position was actually my most recent position in the town of Avon. When I joined their finance team in 2019, I came into a position that had a lot of previous issues from the predecessor. There was a lot of challenges going back to at least 20 years in their finance software, problems with over and underage, interest that was still being charged on accounts that were zero balance. My role in my first 8 months in office was actually to reconcile and correct all those, put every excise bill that hadn't been demanded on demand, put every personal property bill on a warrant that I could, and put every tax title account into tax title and give it over to the treasurer. So I would say that was probably the most challenging, and that is actually one of the jobs that has prepared me most effectively to take this role as City Collector Assistant Finance Director.
Which one was the most straightforward?
No public service job is ever really truly straightforward, but I will say that my work in the town of Dartmouth was fairly straightforward, starting out as a cashier / administrative assistant towards the end of my tenure there. That was fairly straightforward. That was more or less working with the customers or taxpayers up front at the front counter, fulfilling the municipal lien certificate requests, and reconciling daily work for my colleagues and also for myself when I would do batches in the office. So that was the most straightforward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to open it up to other members of the council, starting with Councilor Vital.
Real simple question. I see most of your work experience is an hour down 495, and could you just tell me where you live right now?
I presently live in the town of Bridgewater, Counselor. I'm a lifelong resident, born and raised. I really like that town. I've lived there all my life. And if it's a question of, if the distance is too much, I have a car that is roadworthy. I will travel where I need to travel.
Thank you.
Councilor Oram.
Just so you know, our DPW does a great job on our snow removal, so you'll be fine, even if it's not four-wheel drive.
I have heard.
But, I'm very impressed by your resume, and the most impressive thing I found on your resume was, well, everything's impressive, but your internship. So you already understand our form of government to some degree. I know you've worked in all towns, but here we have the administrator as the president, we have our legislators sitting here, our judicial is always our city solicitor, I think. But you have a remarkable resume, but the transitioning from town to city, have you seen any obvious issues that you might find difficult to work with?
While I've only been here a little under 2 weeks,
Oh, I thought you were here.
I started May 28th, that was my
Feet
first
again,
day. But right now, I don't really see any major issues. There's always ways to find greater efficiencies in local government, regardless of the form. I actually come from a municipality that has a similar form of government. My hometown actually has a council manager form of government. So the only difference is the administrative officer position is actually a town manager as opposed to a mayor. But that aside, still work with a legislative group, still work with other administrative employees, so it's very similar. So working here, I am very familiar with the structure and familiar with that. And my internship was actually part of the genesis of my getting into public service. So I credit that with where I am today, from humble beginnings.
Yes, that's the where to start. Just one additional question, maybe a comment after that. Your planning board, is that an elected position?
No, under our city charter, the planning board is appointed. We go before a citizens advisory committee, then are reviewed by the town manager, then put before city council for a vote. Likewise, as a member of the finance committee, our charter provides for appointments by 3 separate individuals, 3 from the town manager, 3 from the town council, and 3 from the town clerk. I am actually one of 3 of the town clerk's appointees.
Well, and the comment was going to be that being a planning board member, you truly can understand what we're doing as well. So I appreciate your having that interest as well as all the work you do in Bridgewater and will be in Marlborough too. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Any other members wishing to make comment? Council President Ossing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Ms. Pagone.
Thank you, Counselor.
I had 3 questions. You answered one. You are bonded.
Yes, sir.
Very well. Also, you mentioned that you've completed all the classes to become a certified mass municipal collector. As you know, we require you to be one within 4 years. Do you have any timetable to get that, take that test?
So per the MCTA's guidelines, you have to take all 3 years of classes. Due to the pandemic, 1 year was actually had to be skipped. We had school I attended in 2019, 2021, and 2022, and also in 2023. I can stand for the exam this year. And I will be at the annual school from August 12th to August 16th, with the exam taking place on Friday the 16th.
We wish you the best of luck in that exam.
Thank you very much, Counselor. I appreciate it.
My last question is on the tax title process. You seem to touch on it. Do you have experience there? Because we do have some challenging pieces of property that we want to make sure follow that process thoroughly.
I am becoming very acquainted with the tax title issues here in the city of Marlborough. I am familiar with the tax title process, having been the assistant tax collector in Avon. Much of my work was actually culling together all of the information that the treasurer collector would need to legally file all those. Now, in my position as a city collector, assistant finance director, I still have to do that work, but I also will have the aid of our tax title attorneys, Brown Legal, and they will help me out, get everything all together and squared away for those. But with the complexity of the issues that may be forthcoming on any parcels, I will be looking at those with extra scrutiny to make sure that our as a municipality our rights to redeem those amounts, reclaim those tax amounts, and bring those parcels either current or into foreclosure proceedings as best as possible. I do preface that by saying that there are some issues due to the recent Supreme Court decision of Minnesota, I believe Minnesota versus Hennepin County, that could end up affecting that, and that is something I am carefully monitoring, and hopefully we'll see some sort of outcome, and whether or not we get some guidance from the association or from the Commonwealth, I will be quite attuned to that.
No, very well. We're all watching that one, because that does impact us significantly. Thank you very much. Thank
You're
you, Mr.
welcome,
Chair.
Counselor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any further? Councilor Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Barring any further discussion, I would like to move to approve the appointment of MJ Spagone as City Collector and Assistant Finance Director for a 2-year term, effective of the date of the City Council confirmation.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded to approve MJ Spagone as the new City Collector Assistant Finance Director for a 2-year term, effective date of City Council confirmation. Is there any further discussion? No. Hearing none. All those in favor? All those opposed? It passes 3-0. Thank you. Okay, last up, order number 24-100-9157, communication from Mayor Dumas with the appointment of Christine Purple as the Human Resources Director for a term to expire 3 years from date of City Council confirmation. Temporary appointment effective April 29th, 2024. Hey, Christine, how are you? Hello. All right, we'll start by reading the letter from Mayor Dumas. Dear Council President Ossing and councilors, I am pleased to submit for your approval the appointment of Christine Purple as the City of Marlborough's Human Resources Director for a 3-year term set to expire from the date of City Council approval. Ms. Purple began her duties on Monday, April 29th, under my 60-day temporary appointment. Ms. Purple returns to Marlborough, where she previously served as Human Resources Director under the previous administration. She brings many years of both human resources and municipal government experience. I am extremely confident in the abilities of Ms. Purple and believe her historical knowledge will be invaluable under a new administration. In the upcoming year, we have union negotiations, the class and compensation study, and many other items and projects. I'm very glad we have attracted a qualified candidate who poses the qualifications to handle those important items. Enclosed Ms. Purple's resume for your review. Ms. Purple will be available at a future Personnel Committee meeting to answer any questions you may have. Please do not hesitate to contact me or my office with any questions. Sincerely, J. Christian Dumas, Mayor. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We'll take 2 seconds before I hand it over to you to read the definition of this position as well. The City of Marlborough Human Resources Director provides administrative management and professional work in directing and supervising the personnel systems of the City of Marlborough, including benefits, recruitment and retention, workplace safety, labor relations, training, and employee recognition. All other work related as required. The Director of HR is responsible for maintaining and improving upon the efficiency and effectiveness of all areas under their direction and control. So, again, welcome back. I don't know, before you open up to questions from the committee, would you like to take a couple minutes and tell us about kind of, why we're lucky enough to recruit you back here and how it's been going, and a little bit about yourself?
It has been a whirlwind since I returned. We've been very involved. I'm very excited to be back. I've connected with department heads again, been working on projects. We started connecting with the unions to set up negotiations. Pay and classification study has started. So it's been a busy month, just over a month since I returned, and my department's wonderful. I hadn't met PJ before, but obviously I worked with Mary and connected with our vendors and worked with David Williams, so it's been a great experience returning, and I'm excited to be here to continue the work of the city.
Great, thank you. I'll open up to members of the committee for any comments. Councilor Doucette?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Nice to see you, Christine. So, I don't want to, you were the Human Resource Director for Clinton previous to this. What do you see as is there any significant differences between a city like Marlborough and a city like Clinton?
So Clinton is a much smaller community. It has 15,000 people. They just started human resources actually as a position. It's kind of a unique that they didn't have it before, and so I think we're well established here, and I think there's a connection because of that with the staff, department heads, and a relationship that already exists. It's hard coming into a small community that's used to doing things the way that they've always done them. Not that that's not a phrase that's used everywhere, but it's a brand new experience for them. So bringing the knowledge from a community such as Marlborough to a smaller community was beneficial to them. And in turn, I left on good terms with the town. They're reevaluating how they do human resources right now, and what capacity it serves in a municipality of 15,000 versus here, obviously, the community of 40,000. You need to have a dedicated office. So it's
Okay.
two different worlds.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that, I appreciate that. Okay.
Counselor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I did just have a couple of questions related to the past experience on your resume. And so I saw that you had about 15 years with the Massachusetts Association of Assessment Officers. And during that 15-year period, you held the role of administrative assistant and executive director. And then at that point, we were deep in the throes of the pandemic, I'm sure, August of 2020. So you joined the city of Marlborough in March of 2021 as human resources director, which is, something that shows in the experience further back in your resume. So I was just wondering, is human resources management something that that you would say you're most passionate about? Is that where you kind of see yourself long-term in that type of a role?
Yes, I mean, even being involved in the association, I still advocated and did training, and as it was a two-person environment, so I did all of the database administration, worked with people across the state. I've been quasi-municipal my entire career, whether I worked for the MMA back in my initial start. I'm a political science economics background. I worked for a town as a child. That's where I got my passion. Very excited today, I'd have to say, working with the interns today to talk with them about what it means to be in municipal government. So I live it. I have been touching municipal government my entire life. It's in my home. I'm married to a town administrator. All of my friend group are in municipal government. Human resources is how I started. It is passion for me. I stayed involved with human resources even when I worked for the Assessors Association. I did bring training to them, talked about the employees more, bringing that experience that I had in my background to help them as an organization make sure that they're learning and working with their employees about wellness, and brought in mindfulness and some other office-related things that related back to their employees. But worked with the Collins Center, who's been doing some studies for us here, to keep my hand involved in human resources as I worked with the association as well. So yes, people are something I very much am passionate about, and it has been good to come back and connect with some of the employees here, actually, since I've been back, have come to visit me and say hello. So yes.
Thank you. I just have one more question.
Sure.
And that is, so you've been gone from Marlborough for about a year and a half now.
Mm-hmm.
So from where we were about a year and a half ago to what you're returning and seeing, are there any new and unexpected challenges? And I guess if there are, where would you move forward?
So, yeah, no, I in a lot of ways, I feel like I haven't left. I think some of the projects that were initiatives that I wanted to see happen, like the pay and classification, maybe got signed while I was gone, but the project that I had wanted to do before I left is starting now. So that was a big initiative. Obviously, my office staff changed. Now PJ Carpenter's in the office. That was a change for me to have someone new. But, you know, consistently, our health insurance, our benefits, and those areas that were there before are still all the same. I don't know that challenges, obviously hiring is a challenge in general, but that's across the state. But as far as our environment here, I think that I didn't walk in and go, oh my goodness, you know.
So it's pretty similar to where you were when you...
Where it was when I left, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, some things have changed, grievances or union negotiations. I left as they were settling. I'm coming back as they're starting. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Other members of the council? Councilor Orm, excuse me.
Don had something before they go.
I just have a comment, and I'll.
Go ahead, Councilor Anders.
I just want to mention, Mr. Chair, you know, I was very pleased that Mary Lou Vanzini come back, and just pleased that you're back. You bring a lot of experience, but that personality type of person, do well there. And I also want to plug in for a new financial person over there. I had that job 40 years ago on a temporary basis, and I tell you, I didn't have the resume you have. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Landers. Councilor Orm.
Thank you. Welcome back. And I remember going into your office a couple times, and the camaraderie around your office was terrific, and I can see it already happening again. And one of the items was obviously the pay and classification study. I was glad to see it in your letter of March 26th of this year. That's important to me as well. Being a municipal employee for most of my life, I respect and understand how important that must be to attract employees. I brought it up on our floor just last week, how the papers, our newspapers, are starting to show salaries out there. So, you know, we want to keep our good employees here and continue to attract good employees, as we have done with you. So now you can exchange that favor for future ones. But do you know, what do you think time-wise? That's a big study, and is the Collins group helping you with that too?
Yeah, actually, we've done our kickoff meeting with the staff. We did an orientation last week, and the employees actually have to fill out a questionnaire that have to get back to me, and by 2 weeks from now. And then after that, they come in and interview with the employees. So, you know, there is some time involved in that, and I actually don't know the exact timeline, but it is at least, I think it's a 3 to 6 month window, and I know it kind of got delayed with me coming, you know, to start I wanted to get my feet under me before I had them coming in, so we're a couple months back from when I think they originally wanted to come in, but we're cruising right along with the process. Employees we set up, for those in City Hall, we set it up that they could go to Memorial Hall, sit together, listen to the orientation, ask questions. They created a video just in case someone didn't show up, and so they have the opportunity to watch it. Obviously, some of our DPW weren't able to sit to watch the video, so we'll be making sure they have it available. So that's the biggest piece. Now it's the next steps of meeting with the employees, and they have a big team, so they'll be crossing across the board, meeting in different groups, and then they have to write the job descriptions. They're doing the market analysis right now as well, so it's concurrent. Different people have different roles, so I'm really hoping we move through the summer working on this project.
Great. Well, I'm glad to hear the inclusion too. That's so important, to make sure the employee base is included with the study going on from the Collins Foundation.
I just want to make sure that they are comfortable with it. I think we've made sure that they are open to ask questions right along. They know they can come and ask through HR to the consultant if they have something that they're curious about. I've already had some surveys come back. I just sent them out on Friday, and a couple of the employees have already started sending them back because they wanted to get it off their plate. So.
Excellent. If
Yeah,
this
it's
was
good.
the 70s, you would have met me as an intern. I interned for the Board of Health 3 summers in a row back during college, right here in the city of Marlborough. So yeah, I'm so glad to hear you met the interns. It's such a very important step for your future.
They were great. It was absolutely wonderful this morning. I mean, they were deer in the headlight a little bit, and then we got them to relax a little, answer the questions. We got them to fill out their paperwork. I'm looking at one of,
Trey.
we onboarded with Trey back in his beginnings. But we had majority show up today for the mayor had a morning event for them, and we got their paperwork done in a timely fashion. There's a few that will straggle in as they come in on their start dates, so it was wonderful, so.
Well, thank you for your answers and welcome back.
Thank
Really
you.
glad to have you here. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So, thank you, Councilor Orem. Any other, Councilor Roby?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome back, Ms. Purple. A buzzword floating around the country and HR offices is DEI. So where do you see Marlborough in the big picture?
So, I mean, obviously, we need to set up a DEI plan and address some of these topics with our employees internally. I don't know that that has happened over the past couple of years. I do believe we need to start looking at some of those initiatives, and that is definitely something that's on the list of areas that we need to address. I mean, definitely in recruitment and advertising, we can look at better ways of making sure we're reaching out to our populace, and internally, I think we can do a better job at educating our own employees in regards to what DEI even is, because it's an interesting topic across the board to explain to people. Because it's not just our employees. I mean, you also could have DEI be in your community. Sometimes in some municipalities, there are DEI that's internal and external. Sometimes you have DEI officers that are just for employees, depending on the size of the community. And they just help educate and steer the discussions, just to make sure that we're all on the same plane in regards to how we speak and how we interact here in the city. I don't think we have a big issue here, but I think we aren't addressing it as an organization just yet in the best fashion, so we can work on that.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening.
Good evening.
So how long did you work in Marlborough?
How long did I work in Marlborough when I was here before?
Right.
I'm just under 2 years.
Right, what was your biggest accomplishment?
My biggest accomplishment, we worked through union agreements, did not get all of them done. I feel that I worked with staff with department heads and with hiring. We were very understaffed at that time during COVID, and there was just a lot of projects. I think the union negotiations was a big project to manage, and I truly feel that connecting with some of the employees through the process was really great. I actually had some of the union stewards come back and see me when I came back recently to say hello, and some of the employees. I just feel like I was all over the place, so I wouldn't say I had one particular thing I'd say was a major accomplishment, other than I really feel like before I left, we had worked on making sure that those contracts that I could integrate, we integrated and had ready to go, so that in working with the next round, as we are about to embark again, they're already all set. We have a couple that we're still working on. So I do think it was a great experience, and we had a lot of different things going on.
So why did you leave?
At the moment, it was the best decision for myself and my family.
Okay, and why'd you want to come back?
Again, I think in the moment, I very much enjoyed being here. I feel like I built some strong relationships here, and when the opportunity presented itself, that at that time it is the right place for me to be.
So we've had a little bit of discussion via email on job classifications and job descriptions. So can HR change job descriptions without council approval?
It is my understanding at this time that the wording for new hire and job description classification creation is the council's purview.
So let me just help you. Section 125.5 says the council approves any changes. My opinion, administrative, technical, it goes through the council. And I think it's a very important piece for the council to understand that doesn't really get made aware of very often. Again, council authority, council approves the job description changes. It's not left up to HR or anyone else in the administration. A key point. Do you know how many job descriptions there are about?
I do not have the number of job descriptions for the city at this moment.
So the reason I'm asking councils is it's a requirement to review half the job descriptions each year, right? And we hear all this stuff that Ms. Purple wants to do, which is good. That needs to be one of them, because we're struggling hiring people, and not having updated job descriptions is an issue. Right, so I would expect that we would get something during the course of your first year that how many job descriptions there are, and have you reviewed half of them? And if there's changes, please send them to the city council.
We are actually, as a part of our pay and classification study, all job descriptions are being reviewed for all positions except public safety. So obviously the union positions will need to go through the union, but all other job descriptions will be updated as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any further comments from anyone on the council?
Motion to approve. Christine Purple.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the appointment of Christine Purple as the Human Resources Director for a term to expire 3 years from the date of City Council confirmation. That being said, any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christine.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor? We are adjourned at 8:15.